I know that there's years I took off, but at the same time, like where I came from to where I'm at and what I built is so important to me.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. On this episode, I speak with hip-hop artist Five, where he shares what goes into his complex verse writing, the experiences he's had winning several bars challenges, working with many other great artists from Rhode Island, and what he's looking to achieve with the release of his latest project, Long Time Coming, Volume 1. Enjoy the episode, and please check out all of Five's catalog wherever you stream music, and make sure to follow Where the Living Room Used to Be on Instagram, as I'll be sharing some show photos, flyers, and more from Five's time in music. Well, Five, thank you for taking the time to get together, man. I've been following you for a little bit, seen some of the people that you've been running with, and you're just doing some really exciting things. You have a new album that just came out recently, so I'm excited to talk to you about that. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Five.
Yeah, man, appreciate you, bro. Really, always happy to reach a new network and a new set of ears, and I vibe with everybody, man, and that's kind of how I've always been. And it's, like I said, more happy than you are to be here, man. Trust me. So
cool.
Appreciate you giving me the time, man.
Yeah. Well, I know you're from Cranston. Is that where you were born and raised, or where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Cranston. I mean, I think when I was 1993, my brother was born, so we moved to Cranston at that time, but I always went to Cranston school. So I grew up in my grandmother's house until I was about maybe 4 or 5, and she's like in the Parkview, like Edgewood area.
Okay.
And then my mom and dad had gotten like an investment property at the time. It was my house at the time. I didn't speak adult back then, so I didn't know what an investment property was. But we had a spot in Warwick, but it was like Patuxent Village, like part of Warwick, so like right on the line over there. Mm-hmm. And when my brother was born, my parents had bought a house, and I ended up going a couple of streets down, right over in Edgewood. Near like the Dunkin' Donuts area. I lived on Linden Road. Happy with, the upbringing and childhood that I had, man. Played a lot of sports as a kid. I love Cranston. My roots are in Cranston. I know so many people in Cranston, and even on the west side too. Just from, again, mostly playing sports, but
what sports do you play?
So I played baseball, I wrestled, and I played football. Baseball was my first love. I always played baseball. Never the best hitter, but I ran quick as lightning, bro.
Yeah.
Long time ago, But baseball was my sport. And then I fell in love with football, I would say probably around age 11, 12. And then I wrestled. I always liked like WWE style wrestling, and I knew that when I got into it that it wasn't going to be like that. But at the same time, I wanted to give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And I wrestled. I didn't wrestle my senior year. Probably one of my bigger regrets in life, just because I wanted to enjoy being a senior and be with my friends and stuff like that. But I'd also just get out of football season. I played football season my senior year, and it just took like so much out of me. Like that commitment, it was like, and football's intense. It's emotional. It's friendships. It's like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to go through another wrestling season was just like, you know what?
You just want to chill for a bit. Yeah. It's like, at least for me, it was like double sessions in the summer while everyone else is still on vacation and, like all that kind of stuff.
Where'd you go?
I grew up in Massachusetts, like outside of Worcester. Yeah. So I went to Shepherd Hill. And I wasn't very good. I actually basically like played sports until I found music. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm just going to do this music thing. So, but yeah, like what was your introduction to music then? Was it around that time too, or?
Yeah, like I always just gravitated towards hip hop. You know, I think like one of the first songs that like I ever heard, like "Gangsta's Paradise" from Coolio, was like the first song I ever heard. And "Dangerous Minds," like such a dope movie. And yeah, I think like, you know, I've always just kind of gravitated towards that hip hop. My mom, you know, me and my mom aren't that far separated in terms of age. She was 16 when she had me, so she was always into like that R&B / hip hop kind of era. You know what I mean? So, you know, my dad used to like Rakim and like, you know, EPMD and like, you know, Heavy D and like, you know, so like, I didn't know it and study it, but as I got older, I would say like the Cannabis was like the first dude where I was like, wow, like his metaphors and like flow was crazy. Big Pun was a dude where I heard him and I'm like, how, just like everybody else did, like, how is this big fat guy spitting like that? You know? So yeah, that was like kind of like my era. I would say like 96 to like 2002 was like my prime years. And then as far as me, myself getting into like making music, I started like, you know, just seeing people like battle in the hallways. And like, I've always been like a funny dude. So like, I'm like, yeah, I can rhyme and I can be funny. Yeah, I think I you know, and I started doing it, you know, and, you know, it just kind of like stuck, and it's just something where it's like, oh, let me go to a show, let me go to this. And then, you know, you just kind of, it just builds, man. It snowballs from that. So
yeah. Where did you go see shows back then? Do you remember some of the stuff you were hitting back then?
Yeah, so I can tell you the first show I ever went to, man, was Mr. Lift and Acrobatic.
What? Nice.
Yeah, first show I ever seen. It was I can't even remember the name of the venue, but it was downtown Providence, and it was just you know, I was a senior, so it was like a Thursday night, and like I was like, you know, I felt all cool, like, you know, I was 17, like going into the spot, going to a hip hop show. I felt like I was like fucking finally somebody, you know what I mean? And just like experiencing and growing, and yeah, it was such a dope show, man. I've seen so many shows since then, and I think just being at that live show and just seeing the crowd and just seeing how they react, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that, you know.
Exactly.
I can do that, so I want, like, you know, I think it'd be dope, and it just kind of grows, you know.
I guess I'll, you know, even throw it out now. I mean, you're pretty well known for your flow, like your just your style of rhymes, your punchline, like you're just like incredible at all that stuff.
Thank you.
Was it like, how was that process for you guys? Like, were you kind of always like that? Was that the type of stuff you were doing, or always wanted to do, or how much has it taken to get to that point? I mean, what you're doing is not easy, as I'm sure anyone else will say. But yeah, like what has kind of gone into that, or what was some of the earlier stuff that you were doing?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. Obviously that's what we strive for as artists, is to, you know, kind of stand out. And I felt like my best ability to stand out was always with the flow. I loved flowing, and I love people who flow, like, you know, Black Thought, Black Alicious, like Drake, like I have a very wide variety. I'm not one of them people that pigeonhole myself in the 93 boom bap guru era. But I listen to Guru all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them dudes that are like, nah, you can't be stuck in that. Like, you know, I have a wide variety is the best way to put it. So I think, you know, I always kept my ear open to different artists, and I've always loved flowing. I think punchlines were obviously a very huge, you know, part of my upbringing, where I would hear a punchline and just be like, oh my God. Like Cannabis again was one of them dudes where he would just have them punchlines that were like next level to me. Like nobody was spitting it like that, except for like maybe like Rakim, or like, you know, Rakim was another one. Fuji Rap was another one. Big Pun was another one, where the multis that they would put in between words, it was just crazy, because they were, and you get some artists that, look, I truly believe that you can do whatever you want with this. However music hits you and you want to give it back into the universe, you can do it by all means. But there are a lot of artists that just kind of rhyme words for the sake of rhyming words and ain't really saying anything. Which I'm cool. Again, I'm cool with. I'm not hating, but it's like I like to tell a story too, so I like it to be complex. So I take a lot of time in constructing a verse, never mind a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, with that, like, also not to like skip ahead, but doing research for this, like, I see that you've done a tremendous amount of freestyles. You've done, a lot of like challenges and ciphers and all this other type of stuff. So like, what is that experience like for you? Like, I mean, like that, do you just have this incredible catalog of incredibly complex like lines that are in your head that you've just like worked on over and over? I mean, cause like it is something that, you're not in that, platform. You're not writing these songs and just, fine tuning them, go hit into the studio. Like you got to hit this stuff, like the challenge you're on now. I mean, it's when we talked just recently, I mean, you're on IG Live, like you got to hit it then, like,
right.
So yeah, what's going on in your mind, man? Is it just like a vault of incredible lines, or like
I couldn't even begin to explain what the tip of the iceberg in my mind looks like, brother. I really couldn't. But no, again, I appreciate it. And I would say, I think I treat everything for face value. For example, if there's a rhyme where I got to record myself spitting over a beat, and post a video, I know I can spit that 120 times if I have to nail it. And if I don't like one little thing, so if I, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I'm guilty of not letting it marinate where I'm like, yep, that's the one. And then 2-3 days later, I'm like, I probably should have waited, or I could have added this. So I think that's just, I think we're our own biggest critics as artists. But I mean, something like the Mickey thing, you're right. You got to spit it live right there. There's a lot of like Lloyd Banks was in the chat the other night. You know what I'm saying? and it's like, he's not, it's a lot different, I guess, if he's right here. Sure, there's levels to it. But, pressure, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I think maturity and just, getting older has kind of helped even that out a little bit, where it's like, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to spit. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to spit. I know I can spit. I know I stand out different. And the rest is up to the judges, because if you win a contest that's being judged, ultimately, in order to win, you have to hit every button that the judges want, whatever they're looking for. So Sky Zoo is going to judge differently from Lupe Fiasco, and Lupe Fiasco is going to judge differently from Daylight, and Daylight is going to judge differently from Chilla Jones, and everybody's different. So I think another part of it too is being that back to your roots, being an MC and reading the room, right? Even though you're not in the room,
you're an entertainer,
and you got to find what works for you. So I mean, I mean, I got bars for days, but it's like I don't want to spit these bars in this competition, right? I might want to take some of these bars and put it in this competition and mash it with this, but the way I write is a flow. So I can't just take this punchline from this verse and put it with this punchline from this verse, because if it don't flow, now I got to find a different transition. So, it's like painting a picture, man, or like better get a puzzle, I think is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, definitely, man. Yeah. It's, I just kind of want to get a little window into what that process is like for you. It's just
right.
Yeah, it's incredible what you do, and just beyond me, so,
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, can we go back to, if you remember like your first show, and what was that stuff like when you started like writing and performing your own music?
Yeah. So, my first show, God, I would be lying if I could tell you the exact time, but like I used to perform at like Coda Lounge, living room back in the day. If I had to guess, it would probably be the living room. Well, actually, no, it was AS220. It was AS220, and I went up there and I spit. And there was another time, someplace in Pawtucket that had like a showcase, and I literally went up there with like a paper and like read. I was probably 15 years old, So that was like really my first exposure to performing. Now, if we're talking about 5 as on the card and performing, I was always with my dude Ray's. And Ray's was, I call him Harry because that's my friend. Like we grew up since 3rd grade, and he was always somebody that was very, a lot more aggressive than me in terms of like, I'm walking in there, like I own this place and give me the microphone and me and 5 are performing. And I'm like, yo, just let him, dude, you ain't gotta, we can wait. And then I would just get on the mic and boom and spit. So like it was, I was always reserved a little bit where like, I didn't have that like like that tenacity. It was not. I don't say this in a good way. I say this in a bad way. It's something I learned where I still don't always have it, but it's a non-factor now. It's like complete apathy where it's like, nah, I'm gonna go in there, and if I'm gonna spit, I'm gonna spit, and if I'm not, I just go with the flow nowadays.
Yeah. Okay.
So like AS220, living room, Cola Lounge. Like I said, those were like the spots back in the day,
Yeah, and like, do you like know roughly what year that was? And
probably 04, 05, 06. We're talking about 03.
Yeah.
So I graduated high school in 04. I'm probably dating myself, but whatever. It's all good.
I'm older than you, man.
It's all good. But I would say probably like 2005, 6 is when I really started getting like in a booth and recording and saying, okay, this is how I sound with the microphone and with the engineer. And like, I didn't even know what Pro Tools was. I'm like, how do they do this? I don't even know. Like, you know what I mean? So I was, that was like the time frame where I started really taking myself seriously a little bit. And then I got out of it. I stopped doing it for a long time.
But back then you performed, you went by J5, right? Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I went by J5.
And then, you just mentioned that you just took a break. And then is that like when you came back as 5, basically? Is that, can you just talk a little bit more about what your timeline was with that?
Of course. Yeah. So I would say, and it wasn't like, F this shit, I'm quitting. It was really just kind of like, I knew I wanted to start a family, and like, I was working at Shaw's, like I wasn't making no money from music. Right. And I seen a lot of people who were, in my eyes, doing it a lot bigger and well more put together than I was, that wasn't making $1 off it. And I'm like, damn, how much farther do I have to go to get there? And they're still, I was discouraged, I wasn't confident, and I didn't press as hard as I could. And now keep in mind, back then we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have TikTok, we didn't have the resources we have today. It was like, you got to stand outside the venue and hand out CDs. And like, if you whack, nobody's going to buy you. So that's where the competitiveness comes from, and like the punchlines, and like, because I'm not a battle rapper, I don't battle. Like now it's like a totally different genre. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
The competitiveness, once again, stemming from kind of sports, that was like what made you want to shine. Okay, this is your time. You're going to shine. If you want to make some money and sell a CD, you got to deliver now. And everything has evolved so much. So, performing was something where, being on stage. So dopest show I ever performed at, like back then, we went to Cambridge, and it was me, my boy, Tim Deneen, shout out to Tim, Ray's. And we went to, I don't even know the name of the place. This dude, Leeds Entertainment, I think was the, Yeah. So he arranged it back then. And, mostly every show that like we did was, you know how it was, man. You walk into the living room and it's like, you got 17 people. By the end of the show, you might got 40 people. And it's like that ATM mindset. You walk in the building and you're like, oh, God, come on, man. There's only 14 people here. I should be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, man. That's just that ATM mindset. Now it's like, I don't care if there's one person or 10 billion, man. Like, I'm going in there and I'm going to do my thing. And I would almost prefer it to be less people.
Okay.
So this show in Cambridge, we walk up in there, and it was like, it looked like it had like different like levels. It was like a spiral staircase to an upstairs, and people were kind of like spread out. And then I seen the stage, and it wasn't like a predominant stage. It was really like a raised stage. anyway, so we were getting ready to go up, and I look, and it wasn't wide. It wasn't a wide venue. It was like long and narrow, right? But
okay.
It was packed front to back, and I'm like, oh shit, this is dope. So, nerves hit, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do my thing. Killed it, and then I there was a segment, a portion of my segment where I had an acapella, and I started spitting really fast. And maybe I'm being biased, but I felt like that was the best reaction of the night that they gave anybody, and that's kind of where I'm like, okay, this is my lane a little bbit. Right. Yeah.
Doing the faster stuff or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I listen to, I can't go super, super fast like Twista or Tech Nine or any of them dudes, but, just the way I spit, it just, I remember it captivating people and being like, okay, that was dope. I need to do more of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, talking it out with you is probably the early stages of how I kind of found my lane a little bit,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and when did you? Well, I mean, you had a song "I'm Back." Is that when you kind of reemerged, or was that a different?
Which song?
"I'm Back." I think is what I saw in some of the research.
Oh, I'm on SoundCloud. So
yeah.
It's funny. I think that was the last song I made before I left. That's funny.
Isn't that irony?
Right. Exactly. Like I felt like back then that in 2000, because 2010, I didn't really do too much. And then 2011, we used to go to my dude Eighth Wonder's studio in Pawtucket. And I was out there one night. It was me, Ray's, Hammer Beans, rest in peace, Miles Grimes, and Eighth Wonder. And we had all done like different like songs that we just, dope night in the studio. And that was one of the times where I rapped over my boy Dillinger. Shout out Dillinger. I rapped over his beat. And it was like a little dun 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 dun. I know exactly what song you're talking about, and it was just bars over like a beat. But I just felt like I didn't even know what to name it. That's what you know what I mean. It wasn't really a song, and I put it as "I'm Back" because I felt like I hadn't done it in a while, and then I stopped doing it like even more. I was like, you just kind of drift, Like I stopped going to the studio. I met my wife, right? At the time. And I just kind of just stopped. It wasn't for any particular reason. It wasn't because I was fed up or frustrated. It played a part, but it wasn't the whole reason.
I better get familiar, go get some popcorn and memorabilia. I know you thought that I disappeared, like where the hell 5 go? We wish he here, but I'm back. I didn't mean to get you scared. Understand that it's time that to get you here. Come on, listen. Y'all wanna hear my name mentioned? Reach into your brain and pull out your pain senses. I'm interventing, interesting. Look, I spent the whole winter resting. Now I'm back with a vengeance, back in the trenches, back to the fence, all black with the ninjas. Y'all should be taking the bone on the table while you still able to move. Cause if I say so, you ain't making it home. Man on man, I'm facing the zone. Me and Ray's go together like a cable and phone. Bill gonna chill, I reveal my clone. Will everybody feel my song? I don't know, but I know that they feel my tone. I'm home. This is just son spaz on. J to the 5, nigga, get my swag on. I'm that shit, yeah, I'm something to brag on. Spit hot shit, similar to a drag on. From 9 to 5, I be getting my bank on. Jesus bless me with beats to bank on. So from 5 to 9, I be getting my rank on. Niggas got brains similar to an acorn. Sitting on top, I cannot be hit. Hot shit, Xbox to your floppy disk. I'ma be the one you copy to watch me, bitch. I push niggas to the left. Like
so then what brought you back then? Do you remember that thing that kind of pulled you back into it? Was there?
Yeah, I know exactly what it was. I'll tell you exactly what it was. So my boy Dave, Dillinger, like I said, he makes beats and he was starting to get a little bit of buzz. And, back then it was like, he's making beats and on the most basic, like beat making machine you can make it on. And he never stopped. And he started kind of gaining the ear of other artists who were kind of doing the thing around here. And he adapted. He really did. Where he's always had an ear for, and this is the dude who listens to like everything from Timbaland to Missy Elliott to, Lil Baby and Lil Durk and Styles P. Like he just got a good ear. So he was like, yo, I'm telling you, I'm getting a little bit of buzz. I would love to get just give me a 16. Just give me a 16. And I was like, this went on for like 6 months. I'm like, I got you, bro. I'll write it. And then like he, on the way to work, I'm sitting there like playing instrumentals, freestyling in my head, coming up with dope bars. And then I see him. He's like, yo, you write anything? I'm like, nah. So then in August of 2018, Flawless threw a show. It was free. It was in Providence, and it was somewhere in Honeyville. I forget where it was, but I remember going to the show, and it was just one of them shows where like it was packed, but it was it wasn't like overly packed, but it was just enough where, and this is before Rhythm and Flow. Okay. So he had his live band, he had his drummer Josh, and I seen him, and it was just one of them moments, man, where I feel like I'm there today. I seen him, and I was there, and I'm like, yo, that should be me. I can do that. I can still do that. That should be me. And I'm like, why did I? And now at this point, I'm established. I'm married. I got a kid. I got 2 kids at this point. And I'm like, yo, what's the excuse? I got time. I stopped. One of the big reasons I think really that I stopped was because I didn't have the money or resources back then. Right. I ain't rich by any means, but now I have the money and resources. Why not do it? My boy Dave has like, we always talked about having our own studio and having our own booth and all this shit. And he's there making beats with a microphone and all this equipment that we never had before. Why? Like, let's do it. So Dave sent me a beat, and I said, I read a 16, and I must have wrote like 200 bars. Like, I just kept writing and writing and writing. And I'm like, okay, I have a lot to say. And listen, I'm as humble as they come, but I feel like I'm a little bit better than everybody else. Let me put it to the test, right? So I started doing it in 2019. I got a little bit of a buzz, started networking, I created like an Instagram profile at that time for my artistry. And I remember just being researching like hashtags and how to get seen and noticed. Cause like, again, we talked about handing out the CDs. Instagram is like it's like, you remember Super Nintendo, remember Game Genie? So it's like, you got Game Genie, right? You got the cheat code, but so does everybody else. So is it really an advantage? And I felt like when you have the separation, talent wise, it is. And I started believing in myself, and I would start getting notices and looks, and I started entering like online contests. That's how the whole online contest shit started happening. And there was like some producer, Phantom Music. I don't even know where he's from. I think he's from North Carolina. And he did a contest, and I won $300. And I'm like, yo, here we are in 2019. This is the first fucking dollar I made.
That's like, yeah.
And I'm like, maybe this it's a different world. Right? Now I can do contests and stuff. Yeah. And then I entered the contest once we hit quarantine, man. And that drew me to Static Selector. So Static Selector was having a contest, and his boy Randy, somebody had tagged me in it online. You know, at this point, everybody was home, right? Everybody was home. I had a lot of bars. I was entering contests left and right. I entered this dude Young Stitches contest in Canada, and I'm like, you hear like Young Lil. I'm like, all right, who's this rapper? This dude's nice. Shout out Young Stitch. LRP, everybody in this whole group is dope. And I'm like, oh, okay. I entered it, and I got a lot of good reviews and feedback. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then I entered. So the reason I'm telling you that is because I brought some of the people who, latched on at that point to the 50 bar challenge, and I started promoting myself a little bit. Again, all we had was time. And I started spitting just some bars that I had. And I'm listening to the other people that are also home in quarantine rap. And I'm like, that is when I started seeing the separation, bro. And I'm like, okay. Now, still to this point, I don't know how to make music because I never did. I never put the time in to make music. I just rapped. That's all I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I feel like, anyways, before we get to now, I feel like, at that point, I had won, and Static Selector had chosen, and I'm like, yo, Static Selector is giving me like that is when I felt stamp, like that was the point where I felt like I finally had people who came out of the woodwork, right? Because nobody's going to support you until somebody else is who they view as bigger than you supports you. That's just how it works. And I was okay with it though. Back when I was 20, I would have been like, nah, fuck yeah. You guys didn't support me. Nah, I view it differently now, man. I view everything differently, everything. And like, yeah, man, once I had that static support, man, I felt like, okay, I need to reset. I need to get my own equipment. I need to learn this shit. So I'm really like only 2 years in, like hands-on full time. But like this, what you see right here, believe me, it ain't the world, but it's my world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I started in my garage. I bought a Focusrite. I bought, I had an old laptop and I bought a dope microphone, and that was where I started. And I moved inside because I kept hearing crickets in my fucking garage in my songs. And then like, so it's literally, I had to start from the ground up, man. And I'm okay with it. It's fun. It's been fun.
No, that's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're able to take advantage of the crappy situation that we landed in, and, at least that stuff is, I mean, I've been able to do a lot of these interviews and kind of getting through that stuff and just seeing, I don't know. One thing that I love about this is just how music just pushes on, and just how we figure this stuff out, no matter what the hurdle is, no matter what it can be. We always just will like try to turn this into something. So it's great to see the reach that you have now and the attention that you're getting, and
appreciate
and
that,
just
man.
And just really cool. how you're repping Rhode Island, and all these different places. That's one of the things. Again, I just love that you have
Rhode Island born, baby, 401.
Yeah, these songs, just talking about Rhode Island, and just some other, you mentioned some of them, but just some of the incredible, like heavy hitters of the hip hop scene here in Rhode Island. So it's awesome to see that, man.
So much talent here, man. I mean, like old and new, like, you know what I mean? Like, so much talent. And I think that we get overlooked a lot. Just being between two major predominant hip hop scenes, Boston and New York, you know what I mean? There's definitely a lot of artists that have made it out of here. And success is arbitrary, I think, at the end of the day. Is there a Rhode Island Drake? No, maybe not. But at the same time, there are more people in Rhode Island that have made money in the music industry that you don't know of versus ones that you have. You know what I mean? So, everybody wants to put Rhode Island on the map and wants to put, like, believe me, I love Rhode Island. I love where we from. This is home. I'll never leave here. You know what I mean? At least, like, never say never, but at the same time, like, this is where my heart is,
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I think that, a lot of people would you don't need as much support as you think to get what you want from this game, whether it's money, whether it's stage presence, whether it's fans, whether it's clout, whatever you want, this game will give you. But you got to put in what it's going to give you. It's not going to come free. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it's good to see that, there's people like yourself that are putting in that work, and there's just a good network. I mean, I know you're part of the Story of Jacob Cypher that Joe Bruce put together, and, just shout out to Joe, and, he's just doing this stuff for the right reasons, and just understand, like a, rising tide will lift all boats. And I don't know, just, love that dude for what he's doing. And just, your
Joe
verse,
Bruce
and that's
is like one of my favorite individuals. He really is, man, because he's just a dude that, like, he has tunnel vision, right? And he has like this force field around him where, like, no hate, nothing stops this, like, the most humble dude, more humble than me, and I'm humble as fuck. You know what I mean? Joe Bruce, so he ran that contest. And he said, nah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to select a winner, right, that I'm going to put on my album, and I'm going to give him the rightful shine for winning the contest. But you know what? I want everybody to record their verse and come out for a video session. And, on his dime, he didn't ask nobody for nothing. For nothing. brought some artists together. It was a dope vibe. None of us really knew each other. I'm sure there was a couple here and there, but like for the most part, like, you know, I'm going there. I don't know anybody. Usually I roll with at least one person, so I have somebody to, you know how it go. Like I didn't know, but like I just felt like, I'm gonna pull up. They seemed like good people, and we just vibed, and it was dope. You know, I met Josh Algretta, who's good looks. Best kept. I don't know what you go by, dog, but he is the best. He is the best. In terms of like the videography, you know what I mean? And, I was able to network with him. I met this dude, Troy Rain, who's out in Jersey, who like I've been following him since is money. And that Joe is just like, there's a lot of people out here where it's like, and again, get your money, right? But, hey, I'm charging 600 a verse. I'm charging 300 a verse. And it's like, you got another dude over here, Joe Bruce, who's putting people on for free, not asking them for nothing. Where other people, again, whatever you want, I don't care how you view it. Joe Bruce is really a good dude, man. And like, I mess with people off the mic more than I mess with people on the mic. You feel me? And what I mean by that is like, I will work with somebody who is a genuinely good person before I work with somebody that I'm like, yo, he's nicer than him, but I can't be in a room with him for 5 minutes because leave your ego at the door. And I think that's what Joe really does. While we were on the Joe Bruce subject, man, I just really wanted to, like, I really appreciate that dude. He's given me a lot of opportunity for exposure, and I love what he's doing. And matter of fact, he sent out an email or like a message one time, post, whatever it was, and was like, yo, I'm doing a video. It's at 6 a.m. I know that it's an egregious time, but if anybody can make it, I'm like, nah, you know what? I'll be there, bro. I'll be there. You want me to show up at 6 a.m. for you? I'll be there. It's a mutual respect, man. And me and Joe, we haven't worked together yet. We have, but we haven't. That'll make sense one day. But I'm looking forward to definitely doing something with him. And whether it be a show or a project, a venue, whatever it is, man, I'm always rocking with Joe, yo. He's a good dude.
I'm a clean house, better get a jet mop. Got Jacob with me ready to get guap. And we stay plugged in like a desktop. Everybody wanna know who the hell 5. You can tell them whoever the rest not. Flow disgusting like when you on the road and gotta pull over the shit at a rest stop. General, soldier, filling every blank. Oh, you in the field while I'm a military tank. I don't care about bumps, I be tearing out sections. Airing out houses, clearing out eggs. Back then I didn't have the heart to do it. But these days I'll tear it out Texas. You in the raw neck of the woods and I'm a motherfucking bear without breakfast. You can get your rare derriere buried out here. Only thing I care about is flexing. Wearing out vets, paramount checks. 5 go psycho like X's. Airing out texts on IG, IB, dripping like an IB. So whenever I be spitting, I be blaring out wet shit. On another level, and I ain't stopping until each and every one of you out there gets it. That boy Jacob. That boy Jacob. That boy Jacob.
But yeah, I mean, that I think brings us up to your latest release, Long Time Coming, Volume 1. Just came out beginning of May. Yeah, I'd love to talk more about that. I mean, from listening through it, even just the title itself, it seems like there's like a lot of anticipation with it. And, the first track is kind of has like an anthem feel to it. And it's got your Samuel Jackson shout out on it and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of build up to it. But I'd love to talk to you a little bit more about putting this together and, what people can expect when they check this out.
Yeah, no, appreciate you, man. Long time coming. It is Volume 1 available, all streaming platforms. And it was just something where I reached a point where I knew I had to put something formulative together to be like, this is my foundation. This is what we're going to build off of. So, I know that there was a couple of tracks on there that people have kind of heard, but there was also a couple of new joints. Again, I wanted a foundation, almost like a little tease. Like I like playing mind games. Like it's like a sickness. You know what I mean? And but at the same time, I say that facetiously, but what I really mean is that I like kind of just gauging people and seeing the response. I like having fun. I like making music. But I just wanted something that I could put out there. So Long Time Coming is the most cliche, album title you could probably have. But at the same time, to me, I couldn't switch it. Like I thought about it, but I just couldn't switch it because I felt like it really has been a long time coming, man. And you got to understand too, like when I was doing this back in the day, I always, like I said, I had Raze. Raze was the dude that was like, yo, I booked us a show. Yo, I booked us some studio time. He was always the one that was like, making the money, right? To be able to do that. So I never did it by myself. I never booked studio time by myself. I didn't, I showed up and I rapped, and people that messed with me, but it wasn't something that I had really had any familiarity with, like in terms of like networking and where to go and who to do what. Like I didn't know how to make a video, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that's why I say a long time coming, is because this is the first project that I've ever done by myself, regardless of when the songs are put out, regardless of, this is the first project that I ever done where I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this beat. I want to do this. I want to put this on my project. I want to put this at number 3. I want to put this at number 4. And, I talked a little bit about it in the song, If I Could, which is a lot out of my comfort zone in terms of making music. But at the same time, I felt like I wanted to try something new. Yeah. And,
what is it that, is outside of that,
So like, I was saying, I wouldn't go back even if I could. Like, I don't sing. I can't sing. Okay, and I'm not an auto-tune rapper. So like, I had to find that happy medium where like, is it my favorite track that I've ever done? I probably wouldn't say that, but I think that, if you work a 9 to 5 and you go into work, there's going to be things that you like to do and there's things that you don't like to do. And sometimes the things that we don't like to do as artists is step outside of our comfort zone. You can't have an album with 12 tracks of the same exact song over and over and over and over and over again. And even if you do, you're going to get people that bump to you. But if you're really trying to expand your market and expand your comfort zone and talent and everything, you owe it to yourself to do that. So I heard the beat and that's what I heard. So that's what I wrote down and that's what I spit and that's what I laid down. And I said, yeah, you know what? I like this. I want to do a video for it. And, that was like the single off of it, if you will. But, as suspected, there's a couple of other tracks that are doing a lot better from it. You know what I mean? Like my man Wardo, who's out in Mass, he's out in the Cape. He's a dude that I met through this Canadian platform called Bars of Death. And I messed with him musically. Like, this dude got it. You know what I mean? And he sent me this track, that track Respect, which is number 2 on the album. And he was like, yo, tell me what you think of this. Would you want to get on it? And I said, not only do I love it so much, I want to put it on my album, like my project. I like to call it my project.
Yeah.
I want to put this on my project. This shit is dope because it just kind of spoke to me like, you ain't got to show me love, but you better show respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm at in life. I don't care if you show me love. You ain't got to ride my shit. You ain't got to share me. You ain't got to do nothing. But you better show respect for... I know that there's years I took off, but at the same time, like where I came from to where I'm at and what I built is so important to me. And it's a message to people who feel like, you need the city and you got to have everything. And you gotta, before you start like feeling good about yourself, feel good about yourself first. Cause that's where it starts, man. That it don't matter what genre you in, know your lane and stay in it. And, don't be afraid to expand. You know what I'm saying? Don't pigeonhole yourself. So that project, like I said, was a long time coming, right? It was something that I wanted to do to be able to build a foundation off of, put it out there, see a little response. And I've got a few tracks done for volume 2, but based off of responses, some I might not use, some I might use. And it's not to say one way or the other, but it's just, if you go market yourself, you're going to see what the people going to buy, right? So,
yeah. But I mean, you're obviously on point. I mean, it's the project it's anchored, but it still varies, that you're not like overly repetitive with the stuff, and shows your skill. Like, yeah, there's some faster stuff, more, modern stuff. There's some boom bap stuff. I mean, like, I think that
variety. Variety.
It's even got the franchise report freestyle on there, which, I mean, you killed it on, and, just, shout out to DJ Franchise, I mean, the guy's a legend. So it's just so cool. But yeah, I mean, even like, what was that?
Cool, man. Cool dude.
What was that experience like for you of, I mean, even in the track, it kind of talks about meeting him at Troop, and, or, I don't know if you met him, but, like for the first time, but, connecting with him at Troop. And then, can you talk a little bit more about what that's like, and going on the franchise report, and obviously, everything that he's done with BRU forever, so.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right, man. Franchise is a legend. And, I believe me, I knew DJ Franchise before he knew me. So, I seen a lot of the franchise report freestyles, and, I seen a lot of, artists go up there and what he's been able to do, and just evolving from kind of like his, like little couch into the studio, and like a real setting, like a Funk Flex kind of setting. He's like the Funk Flex for our region. And like, he's a super cool dude. Like, like just a mad funny dude. I know he's a Cowboys fan too, and we gonna see you week 1, baby. Tampa Bay Bucks. But nah, like, he's just a real cool dude. And like, I hit him up too. And like, at the end of the day, the beat is a Jigga beat. So I can't, it's not like, I'm not about, first, I'm about money, right? But at the same time, I'm not about money. I don't care. I'll give you 100% of the proceeds. But my thing is like, I loved what we did, and I want to be able to showcase that to more ears. And you helped me with the free visual. You didn't charge me nothing to go up in there. Again, people who giving back, I fuck with that, man. And so for him to help me out, and be able to go up there and spit. There was one time, so I'll give you a quick little story about the franchise shit. I had seen his franchise report freestyles, and a lot of people were telling me, yo, you should go up on franchise. I'm like, I'm not going to hit the dude up and be like, yo, can I come up? Like, I feel like that's a spot that's got to be earned. You know what I mean? So I hit him up one day, and I was just dead honest with him. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm really not this kind of dude. I feel like the spot's got to be earned. But people got to hear me, man. And at this point, I haven't even met him. And he was like, he sent me a message and was like, yeah, hit up, excuse me, miss, who, Letitia, she was mad cool too. And like, he was like, hit, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm not going to hit up your assistant. Like, matter of fact, you know what? Now I got a new goal. My new goal is for you to hear me one day and ask me to come up there, right? And it's respectfully, of course. It's like, just like, nah, I'm not gonna. I don't want to go that route. And I'm sure there's a lot of people, probably 9 out of 10, that would be like, hey, get me up there, bring everybody up there, go up there and spit some whack ass shit. And it's like, nah, I want. If I'm gonna go up there, I'm gonna kill it. And then Lord Gremethy, who I met through the shout out Lord Graham, and he's doing his thing at Troop over there. Lord Graham had posted something that he was doing a locals only live show for an opportunity to be featured on the franchise report. I said, I'm pulling up. I said, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to spit my best bars. And I got his attention. 3 days later, he hit me up and he's like, yo, when can you come up for the franchise report? I'm like, mission accomplished, baby. Mission accomplished. I told you.
Yeah.
I didn't, not like I told you, I told myself. That's what that was my goal, And, it's just, I challenged myself. I could have took the easy route and get up there. But like, I didn't want to be a dude that begged for a spot. I wanted to go up there and earn it. And I did. And I went up there and I spit. And, he fucked with me. I fucked with him. I've seen him a couple times since. And he's been a big supporter. And I hit him up before I dropped that on the project. Yeah. And I said to him, I said, listen, the shit that we did on franchise, I want to put that as like a bonus track, because a lot of people have heard it at this point, but at the same time, again, we building the foundation. Yeah, it's one of my better settings, and better bars, and I felt like it deserved a spot on my showcase. So.
Oh, and yeah, and I think that all makes sense. There. yeah, like a lot of the vibe of this project is there's like more coming. Like there's like already stuff that's on and you've mentioned it, but even just listening to it prior to our interview, like there's like, this is the start. Like this is, the anticipation, there's this build up, but there's stuff that's coming next. And it is, like a core of who you are, like at least from an outsider's view of looking at your history, like a lot of it is like you're doing these freestyle pieces, you're doing these other things, it's like who you are, what you're good at, like so I think it makes total sense to have that and to be a part of that project, to just kind of showcase what you're doing, because it kind of has that mixtape sort of feel as well.
Live in the flesh, yes, 5 is official. Go ahead and try to delay the game, see how far I get you. Thought I told you I'd run the ocean. I show up at the show with the homies in Somali pirate your venue. Trying to be somebody that I'm not, why would I pretend to? I ain't never had a bone up in my body that was artificial. Keep it in a buck for me is not the issue, but to keep it together when they saying they fucking with me. Not the simple shit is complex, complicated. I've been waiting for someone to step up to the plate, get annihilated. I'm debating whether or not I should give them what y'all been waiting for me to toss aside of my fryer later. 5 will make it easy for you. Look, easy does it. Puerto Rican tiki barber. What you mean? I'm running like a leaky faucet. You can read the writing on a Ouija board. 5 will get him leaning like Wheezy on top of the Pisa Tower sipping. Rappers are power tripping. Shit was all good just a week ago. Now it's different. Listen, coward, I will uppercut you to your bow shit and sitting above you in the tower just like an owl pigeon. There's a lot that I got on my shoulders. A lot of shit I try to change that I'm not in control of. To numb the pain, I take a shot and then wash it with cola. Pull out the pen and go dumb like I never got a diploma. This game dirty like a rat's nest, but I'm enjoying every second, every aspect. Stay away from hate and aggravation, add stress. The road I left behind, you won't find it on MapQuest. This rappy shit isn't a game to me, this is a reason. I'm putting my fist up under the chin of those who disbelieve.
Yeah, is there anything else that from the project that you wanted to shout out, or like what's your favorite track off of it?
It was really I got to my personal favorite track is Lace 'Em Up with Vendetta. Vendetta was the dude that I met through Grimo Cypher. I know Lingo from way back in the day, and I first heard Lingo making beats, and when I started coming back, as we talked about before, I knew that Grimo Cypher was a thing, and I'm like, let me hit up Lingo. And I said, trying to get my feet back in the water. And Lingo and Grimo Cypher have been such a huge outlet and support system, and friends, really. It's a friendship. It really is. They always hitting me up, and vice versa. They do their thing, and he's giving me, once again, man, an opportunity for eyes and ears. It's a business, so yeah, you got to pay for it, but at the same time, that's part of investing in yourself as an artist. You know what I mean? And I think that by doing that, and Lingo is a worker. This dude, he gets all of these ciphers, strategically puts who's gonna go where. Mixes the whole shit down. So like you paying a lot less for it than the work he's doing. With that being said, the whole Grimo Cypher and like it was a real good opportunity for me. I met this dude Vendetta in my second cypher that I came back on, and I heard him spit, and it was just like lane. I'm like, yeah, this dude is nice. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. But like his double time is better than mine. It's better than mine. I promise you it is. This dude is like a Bone Thugs and Harmony / like Twister / Tech Nine / you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I always wanted to do a track with him, and he hit me up. He said, "Yo, we should worry, blah blah." You know how it goes. Eventually, we got the right beat, and I'm like, once again, just like the shit with Wardo, I heard it, and I'm like, yo, this shit is so dope. I want to put it on my project. I want to be able to showcase this. I like to showcase talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, Wardo, that's probably my second favorite track. Me personally, though, I like Sacrifice. I like them all. I fucking did them. I wouldn't have put them, I wouldn't have put them out. But if I'm speaking from an objective point of view, which I like to do, Sacrifice was short. For me, I felt like I probably could have kept going, but I also liked the shortness of it, where it was just kind of straight to the point. It almost wanted you, like you said, wanting more. And it's like, that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. Good. check. That's what we call that in chess. That's called check. I want to be able to deliver. I know I'll deliver more. I want you to want more as an artist. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It's so much more than just rapping on a 16. I think if you just write 16s and you show up in the studio and you make songs, you're doing it wrong. In my opinion, maybe you're not, in your opinion, but I think you could be getting more out of yourself as an artist if you expand and network and work with different artists and see where it goes. You might find that you like something more than you like versus just being by yourself, or like having two heads are better than one. That's the best way to put it. Two heads are better than one.
Yeah. But I definitely want to hear you go off on the next one now. All right. So
don't you worry, my friend.
Just go,
The full 5 has not been unleashed.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the best way. That's where we're gonna leave it right there, because the full 5 has not been unleashed, and everybody, you guys know it. So little at a time, though. It's like I'm a big WWE fan, so it's like you don't jump right into the Randy Orton and John Cena pay-per-view. You got to have a build-up, and you got to have weeks, and you know what I'm saying. Tell a story a little bit, and suspense is a good thing.
Yeah. No, well, you definitely hit it with that, and I've been really digging this stuff, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. So, but yeah, I mean, is there anything that's on the horizon? You got any shows coming up, or what do you have planned for this release, or anything else in the coming months later this year?
Yeah, great question. So super near future, right? We'll talk about the Mickey Fax thing. That's the biggest thing on the docket right now. I got to be locked in for that. Final 4. Winner gets $5,000 and, other prizes and features and whatnot. But at the same time, again, I'm about my money, but it's not about the money. Like Joker said, it's about sending a message.
Yeah.
So, just be locked in and do the best I can for that. I know that crowd participation plays a big part. I love seeing people that I messed with when I was 14 years old to 15 to 25 to 30. Like, it's just to be able to see the journey, man, and see the people that are stuck around and really believe in me. That means everything to me, bro. It really does. It really does. I'm such a people person. I never burn bridges. At least I try not to. I feel like just being able to see people in that thing, man, and it really just it makes me feel rewarded. It's that's rewarding. Cool. So if you can make that, that's great. The Mickey Fax shit is on May 24th, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Final 4. As far as performances, the performances that I've done in the last, I would say, 6 months have kind of came up very spontaneous. I probably haven't attacked it as much as I should in terms of, hey, can I get a show? But I don't have any necessarily shows lined up, but I know for a fact that we will absolutely have something lined up soon. One thing I'm looking to do and actively pursuing is the Park Cinema in Cranston, where I'm from, just recently opened up. I used to go there with my grandma, man, and we went to go see Heavyweights. I remember when I was a kid, 1994, and we were the only 2 people in the whole venue. And it was, the lady who used to work there, was my old crossing guard in like elementary school. Like, I just have huge ties, man, to Park Cinema. And if I could bring Cranston together and all the people that I met, Johnson and everybody that I met together there, and just vibe and just have a dope time and bring out some dope artists and bring out some dope dancers and just have a good time, man, I think that would like be a huge milestone for me.
Yeah.
Like that, I want to do that. I really do. So hopefully before the summer's over, we can get that in.
Yeah. Make that happen. That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Volume 2's in the works. Like I said, I've got tracks done, but sometimes you let things marinate. Volume 2, we're going to take it next level, give the people what they want. At the same time, give you a different side of me you haven't heard.
Cool.
I always want to evolve and adapt, man, and just, and be different. So
yeah. And yeah, I mean, and the last question I always ask is, what would you say has been your greatest musical accomplishment to this point?
I think winning the Static Selector thing, the 50-bar challenge. I say that because it was more of a lesson than a shining. Because if you're looking from the outside, it's like, oh, 5 got played on Static Selector, Shade 45, that's dope. Mm-hmm. For me, it was a learning opportunity to be like, damn, if I was ready, I'd be on, right? And I'm not that dude that's like looking for a deal or like trying to like, I'm not looking for clout, like none of that. It's just like, if I was ready, I'd be doing different stuff right now. And I wasn't ready. And I didn't fully believe in myself until, just like everybody else, when Static Selector was like, yo, 5's one of the dopest rappers I've heard of in a long time.
Yeah.
It hit different. And I'm like, okay, DJ Static Selector just said you're one of the dopest rappers he's heard in a long time. It didn't change me like in terms of like, oh, I'm bigger than it changed me mentally to be like, you need to take yourself more serious, because if you have and you believed in yourself already, I would have been able to send Static 45 tracks and be like, here, pick one. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I wasn't. And he knew that, and that's okay. I'll see him again one day. I know I will. Mm-hmm. But for me, that was my biggest accomplishment, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Winning that.
Yeah, well, 5. This has been awesome to talk your career, man, and just to where you are today. I mean, I just can't wait to hear the next stuff and see what you're up to. So, but yeah, thanks again for taking the time to talk, man.
Super awesome of you to have me up here, man. Really appreciate you giving me the time and the spotlight. At 5 Hip Hop is where you can find me. 5 FIVE_hip hop. That's on Instagram. If you go on Spotify, Apple Music, it's 5 space hip hop is all together. HIPHOP, no space there. I hate saying that. I got to come up with a better name that's more user friendly. But I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that somewhere, somehow, something done changed. I can't go back to yesterday, but it's all good. I wouldn't go back even if I could. Allow me to take this time as an opportunity to set shit straight. I am out here trying to get mine, but I do not give one motherfucker about fame. Look, all I want to do is be great, even willing to put it in time. Still some want to throw shade. Yes, every day can't be sunshine, so I'm okay with a little rain. I know how to weather me a storm. Matter of fact, I don't even use umbrellas anymore, little fella. Once you go and pour it on. Know what they say about rivals. Only want to see you at the bottom. Praying that you never see the light. I guess we get that in common. Pay attention to those who don't. Clap when you win, gotta look over your shoulder. They don't want to see you on the TV. Only one thing they want to see, you beat mediocre. They will probably want to pin you up against the wall if they ever had to look up and see you on the poster. But guess what? Get ready, I'm ready. Get the shovel, I'ma get them like a poster. But just know, I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that somewhere, somehow, something done changed. I can't go back to yesterday, but it's all good. I wouldn't go back even if I could. I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that somewhere, somehow, something done changed. I can't go back to yesterday, but it's all good. I wouldn't go back even if I could. Paid my sweat, passed my test, stacked my money, saved all my checks, paid my debt, now I'm back to collect, and the last thing left is to learn how to save my bread. I'd never been a rap, but I feel like I was called to the check. Got a boy go hard on the check. I was in a rush like bomb in the sack. Now I got money long like gauze in the back. Pull up in the demon, I'll be weeping out the smoke. Now I got them looking at me like they seen a ghost. I be in the ocean, I don't need a boat, but I might do a swim or a little backstroke. I don't mean to be the goat, don't believe in one of those. All I wanna do is put up for my people and my folk. Thinking about the weekends, we were so broke, now we on rematch like any money more. When the stage and the radio, I made it on both. Still top 10 less, wanna leave me out of those. Everything I built, I did it myself. Just imagine if I had a team and a coach. I've never been the type to be easily provoked, but I promise if you give me one reason, I'm alone. All I ever needed to succeed or achieve goals was for me to be the beacon of a hope. I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that somewhere, somehow, something done changed. I can't go back to yesterday, but it's all good. I wouldn't go back even if I could. I don't know why I feel this way, but I know that somewhere, somehow, something done changed. I can't go back to yesterday, but it's all good. I wouldn't go back even if I could.